Hello and yes, welcome to another whiskey review with me, the Whiskey Novices review number 124, part 7 of my series, A Baker's Dozen, looking at 13 12-year-old Scottish single malts. Thank you very much for joining me. This time we are looking at this Tomatin 12-year-old. This one, bottled at 43%. I think, yes, chill filtered, colour added. I believe so. Highland Distillery there, just south of N.A.S, owned by the Car Usual. And this one, like an awful lot I seem to be doing recently, ex-bourbon, ex-sherry, or just sherry. It's very, quite vague. This one was released in 2004. And just, you know, Tomatin, I like Tomatin. I mean, Tomatin seem to be making a bit of a name for themselves again recently. They seem to be rising through the ranks, so to speak. But it's with bottles, not this one. Let's just get into it, shall we? It's a rather thick, quite meaty and floral nose feel at first. Sort of buttery, and even there's a mentally thing, like what's it called? Not Murray mints. I don't know if Murray mints means anything to anybody outside of the UK, but Murray mints, it's that buttery. There is a minty thing. Yeah, definitely. I was actually surprised at that because I don't remember this before having that. But yeah, I'm getting that. It is slightly floral. It actually starts quite well, but it loses its appeal quite quick. There's fruit. There is fruit, apples, fresh pears. A little dried apricot, perhaps. It's, yeah, weirdly, as I said, all that stuff that I mentioned at the start, the thick floral Murray mints, all that sort of stuff, tends to die a bit quick on it. But, you know, not bad. Yeah, bit wishy-washy. I'm a bit himmy-high about this, as they say. I think the problem is I've had better Tomatins. Not even, I mean, I'll not go too far into it right now. Palate, much sharper than I expected. Sweet, sour again. Arrival. Not thin, but not as thick as the initial nose would have suggested. It's not thin. It does coat quite well, but just I was expecting something even thicker. That minty thing's still there. There's a slight wallpaper paste hint in it. It's slightly astringent. It's herbal. It's spicy. It's too spicy almost. The floral thing carries through the end of the palate. That spicy thing. It's like a dry chili. And as much as there's still flavour going on, quite a bit of savoury, herbal going on, that spiciness, that it's like a chili spiciness, tends to start to dominate at the back of the palate. and then any flavour sort of starts to play second fiddle to that. Yeah, you definitely do start to lose any sort of good floral depth and palate. It's a bit of a shame, really, because it suggested stuff at the start, and then it just doesn't follow through on that. Finish is dry, sort of medium length. Yet again, that chili heat is hanging around in the back, and yet it gets quite forgetful, because I think it's just because it goes dry so quick. The heat's there, but it's just not giving up what you would expect it to. It's sort of all, any flavour that's there dries to nothing. In fairness, you keep going back, you'll keep getting those initial hints. All those flavours that were there at the start still hang around, but it's because that finish becomes so dry so quick and the flavours die out with it. It just doesn't improve much. I added 3 drops of water there. 1 for every percent over 40 that it is. Well, slightly, I'm getting a soapy note off it now. Doesn't change an awful lot. Doesn't change an awful lot. As I say, there's a slightly soapy note comes through. Actually, it does improve the palate. Those 3 drops actually improved that palate quite a lot. Came to life a bit. But then it still dries to nothing. Yeah, nah, I'm not a huge fan of this 12-year-old. I do like Tomatin. As I said, they're coming up through the ranks and I like what they're doing. But this one just doesn't. There's as I said, that spiciness feels like as if it's choking everything. And it feels like as if it's building to something. It feels like as if it's building to something big. And then just doesn't quite get there. And it's a shame, because I do like Tomatin. But hey, they can't all be winners. And in this case, the 12-year-old just doesn't do it for me. So listen, don't let this by any means put you off Tomatin. Great stuff coming out of there. 12-year-old, 35 to 45 pounds. Once this is gone, no, I probably wouldn't replace it. It'll probably sit around for a while. It's a shame. It's a shame. But hey, that's how it goes. So yeah, I mentioned a couple of things in there. A couple of words that were used. The word spicy was used. Yes. I used terms like feels like it should be something, builds up to something and doesn't get there. And I know this is a little out of left field. This is a little really out of left field maybe. But I'm going to suggest this to you. From Compass Box, the Spice Tree, John Glazer's group there. I'm sure there are a few of you out there screaming right now going, what the hell are you talking about, Jim? But look, when it comes to whiskies, and this is a blended malt, but when it comes to whiskies that build up to something, and you know, as I said, this I felt built up to something, didn't quite get there. This gets there in spades. The Spice Tree is a classic. I haven't reviewed it yet. I will, but it's got that nice rich spiciness going on. builds up, just gets better and better. You expect this to be, I don't know, personally, I felt like as if this was going to lift the head off me at first, and it was just butter. It's, you know, it's got all that spiciness and butter going on. So you've bought the Tomatin 12-year-old. You either liked it, or like me, you were slightly disappointed. Either way, I'm going to suggest to you the Compass Box Spice Tree, because it's just good, and for very little more money than the Tomatin 12-year-old. It's not much more expensive. It's probably some parts of the world you'll find it for the same or less, believe it or not. So yeah, look, Tomatin 12-year-old, like Tomatin, like what they're doing. 12-year-old, and I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. I visited the distillery not that long ago, and having tasted the range, the start of where, you know, from the legacy up, I get the impression that the 12-year-old doesn't really hit the mark for a lot of people. It's strange. It is strange. But hey, that's just the way it is. So look, we'll leave it at that and say thank you very much for joining me. As always, thank you very much to my patrons. As always, if you wish to join that group, the details are below. Until the next time, here's to your good health, my friends. Cheers. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Please click and subscribe to be notified of further content.